Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for watching the Storytelling Alchemist show. Hope everybody has had an amazing week. We're here in almost middle of August. It's hard to believe that 2021 has moved by so fast. And with that being said, the show has been on almost 8 months. And for that, I'm inviting my friend and welcoming my friend Mama Gina here. That's going to be my guest tonight. She was on my show way back in V109 FM days when I first started that with V109 Soul Talk then. And so she was in the studio with me in Clearwater, Florida. It was an amazing day. That was when it was a 2-hour show. And let me just kind of give you a background on her. She has toured all over the country. She is a spiritual teacher and a musician and songwriter, and just an amazing all-around good person. You guys are gonna love her energy. Very loving, compassionate. Please welcome Mama Gina.
Hey, hey, Jeremy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I love that name, Spiritual Alchemist. I love that title. I am intrigued by that because it kind of implies change. Storytelling alchemist. It implies this change through all these lived things, and I love that you're doing this.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. That was actually I went to a person. I was like, "Have you ever?" You've known me a long time. I was having trouble figuring out what I do, and
Right.
and she sat me down and she goes, "You're a storytelling alchemist. You help people transmute their story, and so they can alchemize themselves from lead into gold. Their thoughts from lead into
Yes.
gold." And
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it. I love it. And thank you for calling me a musician in that introduction. We were talking right before the show went live, and that's one of the things that I have struggled with. Part of my story, that I am very, very comfortable with my spiritual journey and sharing that. I'm very comfortable being on stage as a songwriter and a storyteller. And I'm very comfortable singing in front of people. But I have struggled all these years, and I'm almost 60 this year. I have struggled my entire life with calling myself a musician. And that is changing slowly over the last couple of years, but I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you're welcome. I was just thinking the other day that I think you and I have known each other. I want to say getting close to 20 years. Probably not quite 20 years, but
It's probably about 20, 25 years because I will tell you that my son is 28,
oh well.
and I'm pretty sure I met you when he was still short.
Getting the short person.
He was still way shorter than me and smaller than me. Um, yeah, it's been quite a while.
And what most people don't know is I spoke at the Florida Pegging Gathering probably 2 or 3 years in a row. And Mama Gina is the one that talked me into going there and speaking. Because I was like, well, I don't know. I talk about Jesus. I mean, like, they're not going to want to hear what I have to say. She goes, so exactly what she's doing right now. And then my friend Jesse said, some pagans, Jesus is their deity.
That's right. That's right.
And
There are Christo pagans out there, and it's an interesting mix. But if you look at the actual stories that we tell about Jesus, that's that's deity material, and it's also, Christ doesn't mean a person; it means the
yeah,
light that's within ourselves, the spirit that's within ourselves that we share with each other. And so, yeah, yeah, definitely.
that's something that maybe we could go into because I've been really doing some deep healing work for myself. But we were talking about before the show, people needing hope and, the heaviness that has been going on over the last year or 18 months or however long we want to say. And it's not just about that they were furloughed from their jobs or people have been sick or that they've died, or there's been a lot that's been happening, and there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of division. And I was just talking to a friend of mine recently. We were talking about the middle path. And we were talking about the middle path is that path that goes between the yin and the yang. And, it flows. And I think you said to me a long, long time ago that the pendulum swings this way sometimes, and then it swings this way sometimes.
Right.
And, it's not always going to stay at center, because then we would never learn anything.
Truth.
So,
yeah,
good stuff. Good stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
doing a lot.
No, I think that part of my reason for being here is to observe and to watch, to witness what other people go through. I've been very fortunate in my life to be able to take that step back from what everybody else is embroiled within, and stand back and get a long range view, to get that whether you want to call it a bird's eye view or whether you want to just call it a long range view, whether it's time or emotional or whatever it is. I have a tendency to be able to step back and witness that thing and then make sense of it. Part of a lot of my songwriting is like that. It's welcome to my therapy session. This is how I process. This is how I process my stuff, but it's also how I process everybody else's stuff. And I've been very fortunate in my life to be able to do that, and that requires that while everybody else is taking sides, that I need to be open and to listen. And it's not easy sometimes to be in that position where you're simply listening and hearing each person's heart, no matter how far or close it seems to you and to your own beliefs. It's a very interesting thing, and sometimes it almost I have been accused of cowardice for not taking a side. Believe me, I take sides personally for what I need to do for myself and my family, but understanding that you can listen to people and give them voice and hear them, which is, I think, what most people want more than anything else. They want to be heard. They want to tell their stories. And most of the anger and the frustration and the rage that I hear is because they haven't been heard the way they need to be heard. And so I think that part of why I'm walking this physical plane is to listen to people.
So like the inner child needs to be heard, so to speak, and whatever it is that they're upset about, it's generally because that child or inner world hasn't felt loved.
Right.
So
hasn't felt heard. Yeah. I find, at least for me, that having that kind of communication with people, where I do most of the listening, for somebody who is a songwriter, and I know you've mostly seen me in situations where I'm doing all of the talking or 95% of the talking in the classroom, but honestly, I think that a songwriter, that a storyteller, their greatest talent is listening, because that's where we find the stories, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's too because the story and whatever's going on in somebody, there's a story that causes emotional responses within people, and that's how they act out in the world. It could be, I'm a winner. It could be, I'm a loser.
Yep.
I'm not attractive enough. I'm not good enough. All those things, they prevent us. Those whatever story is how we act out in the world. And then some would say how you attract your world or create your world.
Yes.
And how it unfolds for you. So, change the story, change your life, I guess, so to speak.
Exactly. But in order to change your story, I think that you have to have effective ways to communicate that story before you can even understand it sometimes. I often don't even know what story I'm going to tell until I pick up the pen and start writing. or until I sit down with a friend and I say, I just had this crazy idea. And a half an hour later, we're talking through this idea. And I think that goes with people's very personal stories as well, that some people were never taught how to communicate that. So they can't possibly change it because they don't even understand their own story or how to tell it. And if you can't do that, I don't know how you can transcend that and change that into something else. It's like they don't have the skill set. It's one of the things that I do with a little bit of counseling that I still do. I read tarot and do some other stuff. I don't even read and tell people what to do anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. The cards tell me what questions to ask them so that they will start talking.
Gotcha.
To let them do their own reading, to let them be their own guide. I kind of sit back and I'm just asking them questions about their life, and I already know the answers a lot of the time, but it's about getting them to say what those things are in their own voice.
Yeah, because when we just give them the answers, they're not changing.
No.
I've found countless times where I've given readings to people and then they come back to me and they get addicted to me, and I'm like, no. I'll end up doing, I'll do coaching with them and start coaching them into, I had a woman a while ago that is an amazing person, regional sales manager, making tons and tons of money. Didn't think she was a good manifester. I was like, what? And how much did you make last year? Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like,
wow.
Sounds like you're a great manifester. You're doing better than I am. However, abundance is different for everybody. And I think that, we get these ideas where, I had years ago a woman that was kind of jealous of me because I've written a book, I've traveled all over the country, had a radio show, all those kind of, and she's like, how have you done this? I was like, I didn't have kids. You had something that I wanted too, a solid relationship. What spirit gives us exactly what we're supposed to have. And years ago I would get beat up. I would beat myself up and like, maybe I made wrong decisions. No, made the right decisions.
For the moment you did. Absolutely.
Yeah. So a cool decision, one of my favorite stories of yours is I remember years ago I had asked you, why don't you travel? It was when your book first came out. And you said not until your son, I think it was had to turn 18 and be out of school.
Right.
And you were working a professional job at the time. I believe it's a paralegal. And and you were like, when that's done, I'm gone.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you did.
It is. And you want to hear the punchline to that is that my son was in his last year of high school. And I had started playing out on the weekends and traveling short distances to play some festivals to get my music out. And I really, that was where my focus was heading. And I knew that was what I was going to do once Jesse was old enough and didn't need me to be physically in the room anymore.
Right.
And so he's in his senior year, nearing the end of his senior year. And I was getting sick every day at work. I was having chest pains. The job had become very, very difficult in the last couple of years that I held that job. I didn't want to go to work anymore. And I finally sat down and questioned, why do I need so many mental health days? Why am I getting chest pains every day? It's the same job, and I've always chosen to come into this job. And from out of somewhere, right? Spirit speaks how it speaks. I realized I was no longer going to need that job, but I was so entrenched in it that I was still caring more for that job than I was in setting up the future that I had said all those years that I was going to pursue. And I was getting sick constantly. But once I realized that what was happening was that I always said when Jesse graduated, I no longer needed to be in that day job. anymore. And I kept putting off and putting off and putting off my notice, giving my notice, telling them that I was leaving. And I was at a festival where there was another paralegal that worked in an office that had absolutely nothing to do, like 2 cities away from where I worked. And she was part of the pagan community that I was working within. And I was talking to her and I said, I've got to put in my notice. I've got to be done with this so that I can just come out and start playing music professionally again, full time, because that's where I'm headed. The next Monday, I'm in the office and one of the attorneys I worked for called me in and he said, I heard a rumor that you're leaving us. She had said something to somebody who had said something to somebody. And within 2 days' time, from the time that I mentioned to her that I wanted to leave my job, it had got to the office that I was going to give my notice. That is the universe conspiring with me. And I sat there and I looked at my boss and I said, yes, I am. I said, I do need to give my notice. And they actually got 3 months out of me before I actually walked out of the office. Because I did tell them that I would, but I also wanted to wait until Jesse was, launched. My son was launched, and it all was absolutely for the best. But I think I was dragging my heels because there is a security to having a full-time day job that I don't necessarily love, but that I had become entrenched in and didn't quite know how to disentangle. And so I got a lot of help from the universe. Because once the cat was out of the bag, it's like I might as well just give my notice now and work my way out of this. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened. And I will tell you that I stopped having chest pains.
Wow.
I stopped being sick almost immediately. It was amazing, the relief. And the last day in that office, when I got on the elevator at 3:00 after I had cleaned out my desk and said goodbye to everybody, I got on the elevator alone and it was 5 floors down. And as soon as the elevator doors closed with me in the elevator, I watched this black thing uncurl from my chest, fill the entire elevator. And by the time we were on the ground floor, it was clear. And I walked out and I never felt so light and wonderful. And that was just all that stress I'd been holding on to for the last few years, trying to get through it all. Yeah. And doing something that I chose to do to raise my son, because he's a Cancer and he needs all of that stability and that link to home and everything else. And so I wanted to raise the child that I had, not the one that I wanted to be a free spirit, because he was not. He was not that free spirit, right? But it felt so good to walk away from that. And the office wasn't toxic. They were wonderful people. They were all good people, but it wasn't where I belonged anymore.
I do understand that. I've been a corporate trainer now for 24 years.
Wow.
25 years, managing training departments and stuff like that. And I stepped down as a training manager and took a job as a consultant this year so I could have more freedom.
Good for you.
And really what it comes down to is, like we were talking about earlier, watching people inspired and seeing their souls sing, and yes. My writing is my therapy. And watching people find peace and healing in that. That's what I really think that we're only here on this planet once. Well,
right.
Some say we of course we have reincarnation, but this incarnation of me
yes,
is only here once. And so before somebody starts making a comment about reincarnation,
right.
because they will. But well, awesome. So I know we were talking about, because of all the spikes that are happening, a lot of things are being canceled, which of course we understand. I imagine your goal is the same as mine, to start getting back out there. speaking and stuff like that. So I'll probably be contacting you about spirit pegging gatherings and
Yeah.
um,
You know, I am so looking forward to getting back out on the road because I do love traveling. I just had this conversation with someone in an audio mixing group that I've been dealing with for the last year and a half that I've been taking classes in, and they were saying, "Why do you love the road?" I said, "I love meeting new people and I love saying goodbye to them." And everything in between, I just love it. I love the downtime. I love that my time is my own, that I'm not really accountable to anybody except my own self. I do miss it, but the last year and a half, once I saw everything collapsing at the beginning of 2020, when all my gigs started disappearing on the calendar, I realized that I had a 5 year plan last year before COVID. I had a 5 year plan, and that 5 year plan was by the time I'm 65, I'm probably not going to want to travel 9 months out of the year because that's what I was traveling for the last few years. I would be home maybe 2.5, 3 months out of the year in Florida. The rest of the year, I was on the road full time. I mean, I didn't come home. I
right.
just went from one place to the next and, did what I had to do. And I absolutely love that style of that lifestyle. But I was home and I realized my 5 year plan was to build a home studio so that I could start recording and doing things at home, and maybe crafting music at home because it was too expensive for me to keep going into the studio because I crank out a CD every year at least.
Right.
And not that I don't love my friends that have studios in Tampa, but it just is a big out of pocket expense.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to get all this nice gear and I am going to have to take classes because it's something I really know nothing about this skill set. Well, that was my 5 year plan. COVID showed up and it became my 1 year pivot. Um, and I just released She Walks the Stars, which is an incredible. This is not me doing this. It's the best thing I've ever done musically in my life.
Wow.
This album it's it's full of hidden kabbalistic gems that nobody would know, and it wouldn't bother them at all to listen to it if they didn't know anything about Kabbalah. But the whole thing is it's a story set 30,000 years in the future, and the musician that is the center of it, Ava, She Walks the Stars, is she's not wired for happy, so she has to figure out how to maneuver in the world. She's a very depressive kind of person,
Wow.
which is completely unlike me. And I'm not going to say I channeled her, but I channeled her. Um, and Ava is she finds love, and she dies in the end. And all of the music is about love, unconditional love, light, gravity, quantum entanglement. It's simply one of the most beautiful things that I've ever written. And it's very modern compared to most of my folk stuff because I had the access to all of the really cool tools in the computer, while I was recording and producing the CD.
That's so
And
exciting.
yeah, it's really exciting. I'm already working on new music, and I am so excited to have added this skill set. I'm still taking classes. I'm still part of the school. That won't end anytime soon because I still have an awful lot to learn. But I've learned enough to be able to produce some really quality music, and it's very thrilling. And it means that if this continues, or in the future when I can't travel quite as much, that I will have a small studio to bring in singer songwriters who don't have the ability to record themselves, and that'll give me a second kind of income and a way to stay engaged musically with my community. So I'm kind of excited about it.
That is very exciting. You've always been multi-talented, and even back from teaching Kabbalah, back in and we were just talking about Blessed Be in the store here
Right.
in Tampa, and your book, Tarot Spreads,
Tarot threads, spreads, and mandalas. Yeah.
and, because that's been out for what, a good 14 years now,
Yep. Long time.
long time. So
Yeah.
very, very cool. So I was gonna maybe see if you could play a song, but I don't want to put you on the spot.
I would be happy to. Um, Hopefully the sound quality will be pretty good. I know sometimes when we do these things we get a lot of fencing, but we're going to give it a shot. Hang on just a minute. And actually you're not putting me on the spot because I was thinking about storyteller, alchemist, and so I have a song that I wrote about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that is a song about songwriting and about storytelling. So that
Thank
should
you.
work out.
Perfect.
Let me move this mic just. Can you still hear me okay?
Yep, I'm gonna mute myself though, so that it doesn't give a feedback. So.
You got it. I'm a myth addict. Tell myself stories over and over till I believe the facts, they don't matter. It's the story I'm after. I get high on these threads I weave. I'm a princess, runs with dragons. I'm a kind and benevolent king. I'm the madman, run from the forest, and I am the wizard who knows everything. I'm the drunk in the alley, so broken, and I'm the child who does everything wrong. Your stories and mine are so sweetly entwined. You hear yourself in my song. I'm a myth addict. Tell myself stories over and over till I believe the facts, they don't matter, no, 'cause it's the truth that I'm after. I get high on these threads I weave. I'm three sisters in search of their fortune, and I'm the secret that no one can tell. I'm the fool and uncomfortable laughter, and I am three wishes, and I am the well. I close my eyes and I see the faces, remember places that I've never been. I'm the hero and I am the villain, and I am the truth that lies in between. I'm a myth addict. Tell myself stories over and over till I believe the facts, they don't matter, no, 'cause it's that story I'm after. I get high on these threads I weave. Oh, I'm a myth addict, threading that needle, twisting and turning, blood and bone deep. I'm a myth addict. Tell myself stories make you believe over and over. I'll make you believe over and over till I believe.
My
Thank
friend
you.
Linda said she loves your voice.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that would be appropriate for a storytelling alchemist. I wrote that song. I was in a cabin for a week. Somebody had offered me the use of their very, very rustic cabin with like no running water and no facilities, essentially, up in the mountains, in the Blue Ridge Mountains,
Oh
a
wow.
couple of years ago, and it was lovely and it was wonderful and it was bitter cold. There was propane, so there was heat, and it was just like a little kind of open space, tiny house kind of thing with a bed on one end, and there was a rocking chair, which was the only other place to sit. And the rocking chair had arms, and it's really hard to play a guitar in a rocking chair. And so I spent I spent days playing that riff, but all like hunched over in that rocking chair. But
It's funny.
yeah, it was funny.
That sounds like
So
my friend Sylvia Bogart's tiny home in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Kentucky.
yeah, it's breathtaking, and it's so, you know what, that's one of the reasons I love traveling, is because I get those opportunities that other people don't seem to have available to them, and they just kind of fall in my lap, where somebody will say, I've got a house on the lake that's going to be empty for a week, while I'm traveling from and to places, and they'll say, you're welcome to come and stay. And it's so wonderful to have those opportunities to see different parts of the country.
Do you know
you
that
know
that is amazing? Because I remember in 2012 when I was on my tour of the United States, and people would message me and say, "Hey, would you like to come and stay and teach a workshop to my family? I can help host you." And most of the time I'd stay in their homes and do healing work. And then I had actually once somebody put me up at a Marriott and rented out the conference rooms in the Marriott
Nice.
to their friends and family and do a book signing. So I mean, constantly people were messaging me and saying, "Hey, do you want to come and stay with me for a week?" Or always, and even still, like last year, somebody gifted me their cabin over by Orlando, and for a week, and I was gone, and it was those things were blessed. It's just one of those things
We
that,
really are. And I also think it's a really clear indicator that people appreciate what we bring
yeah,
to them, what we can offer to them, because this is not what you and I do is not traditional in any sense of the word. Not here in America. This is not traditional. I still have people that look at me after all these years of doing this successfully and say, "When are you going to get a real job?" It's like suffering is placed so high up on their value set that they don't understand how somebody can make a life and a living doing exactly what they're supposed to do, exactly what they were born to do, and exactly the thing that brings them and other people around them joy.
yeah. I think I just don't think that they don't see it in themselves, and they have that capability.
They do have the capability, but it's hard. And I'm the first one to tell people this is not an easy life by any means. I live right now for the last year and a half. Welcome to my world. This is my bedroom. The studio is in front of me that you can't see. And this is my whole world. I live with my sister and my brother-in-law, who have graciously made space for me so that I have a place to be when I'm not on the road. And normally this room is all storage. And I've pretty much cleared out anything that I don't use anymore. I no longer have storage. I don't have things that I don't use anymore. It's a lean life. It's a lovely life. And it makes it easy for me to come and go as I please. And it also has been comfortable for me to be here for the last year and a half, which I'm incredibly blessed that I have a family who doesn't understand me at all, but they love me. So they make this available to me, and it's wonderful. It really is.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that and that amazing song
Thank you.
and your wisdom and your kindness and for coming on the show again. It's been 10 years.
It's been too long. It's not going to be that long next time.
No. Well, maybe next time because I plan on broadcasting on the road.
Excellent.
And I've connected with a girl that she does. I want to do a blog called Spirit World Travel, where I take people, where I go to like the Cahokia Mounds, or I've been to. My mother studied Mayan shaman, so I've been to Chichen Itza and Tulum and all those things. So to me, these are all things like one of the places I want to go is Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, and so I may just call you up and say, hey, are you going to be close by this area?
Absolutely. We will make it happen. We will definitely make it happen. Here's to being able to travel again safely and well. And I'm excited to do that, but I'm also excited that I have a new skill set and new ways to express myself because I've been able to get online and do some live concerts and things like that, and still share with people as you were doing with this show. You're able to share your vision with people, and I think that every little new way that we learn to connect with people is a blessing and a benefit.
Absolutely. Well, everybody. Well, actually, what's next? I mean, I know we're kind of uncertain, but is there anything that's coming out? I know you mentioned new music and.
I do. She Walks the Stars just came out. I just got the CDs about a month ago, and I've been selling them, and they can find me there at mamaginamusic.com. They can also find me on Bandcamp, and those are the places where you can find my music. I also do some other kind of artsy, creative stuff. So if you connect with me on Facebook or at my website, you can find out about all of that. And I wrote a couple of songs last year in the midst of COVID that were songs about hope, that were hopeful songs, trying to find the bright spot in all of the crazy. I kind of went through about 6 weeks of what's the use, and then finally woke up one day and said, if I can't see it, I'm gonna have to make it. So I got up and started working again. But I've just written a new song called New Religion, where I reached out to my community, and I've got 85 voices singing in a choir at the end of this. That is just amazing.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful song. I never know if I write these things or if something writes through me. It feels a bit inspired, I will say that. But I reached out to my community so that I have a lot of voices on it singing in this big choir, and that should be released in about 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, if folks reach out to me, they can get on my Facebook page or on my mailing list, and I will be letting people know when new music comes out, because it's coming. I've got 8 full-length CDs, and I'm getting ready to do a 4-song EP with this new music that I've written in COVID times. So yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching, as always, 10 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays. And I know it's late for the Eastern people. It's not so late for the California people. And so it's one of the reasons why I do it at this time. And many more guests coming up in the next few weeks. And thank you, Mama Gina, for coming on the show. It's been very much a blessing.
Thank you for inviting me. It was wonderful seeing you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Be blessed.